The healthcare theme is becoming an overall very strong theme because of larger insurance, Neeraj, as well as more elective surgeries that people are going for.
Yeah, and rising per capita as well. We can't do away from that for sure. So, but maybe that feeds into rising insurance penetration and medical penetration. But continuing with that theme, Max is the next one in focus. We are kind of doing it a healthcare corner today, if you will, because that delivered a strong second quarter as well, with the revenue rising 21%, net profit surging 59%, aided by, of course, a favorable tax impact and steady improvement in operational metrics. Abhay Soi, Chairman and Managing Director of Max Healthcare, Johnson, to talk about this. Based on first half, Abhay, that you've already seen, would you say that this is the trajectory that you had penciled for when you started the year? And what's the outlook therefore for the second half and maybe even for FY27?
So I think, yes, we've been looking at, and if you actually see the street as well, has been sort of guiding for this kind of growth. We are, I believe, slightly above what the street guidance has been on numbers. But, it's not like it's a big sort of beat of what was expected and estimated by the street. And as you sort of perform, expectations of the street also keep rising with that. This happens to be our 20th consecutive quarter of growth. So every preceding quarter has sort of claimed more expectations of us, which is should be the case. We are about to enter a very, very exciting phase, and I believe that is something which is going to propel growth for us. There have been a couple of sort of this thing, at least as far as our long held desire for increase in CGHS rates, that has come through. That should give a fillip to our numbers, as well as the fact that we are going to be rolling out immense amount of capacity in the next 6 months. We've just recently rolled out 170 beds in our Mohali facility. We are going to be rolling out another 268 beds in our Mumbai facility over the next couple of days, in fact. And another 400 beds is expected within the next 30 days in our Max Saket facility. I think between these three and end of the year, perhaps looking at another 500 beds in Gurgaon, that is additional capacity, overall capacity rollout of about 30%. So that's significant, and largely being brownfield capacity addition, I believe we should be extremely accretive to both the top and the bottom line.
Now, Abhay, I believe in the August con call, you had mentioned that FY26 additions, you were targeting, 1,000 brownfield and 500 greenfield beds in that call. Would you be on track for the same based on all the capacity additions that you're just talking about?
No, I think we are pretty much on target. There may have been, plus and minus of a few weeks on sort of our expansion plans. But, each project is a 3-year project. So, a few weeks up and down doesn't really move the needle on it, at least from our standpoint. Having said that, I think we're online. We should have all of the 1,000 beds rolled out within this quarter. Like I said, most of it is being rolled out as we speak. And I think as far as the greenfield is concerned, which is Gurgaon, it should be at the end of the financial year. And I think, if we don't have further delays on Grab and some of the other sort of these things that we have in Delhi, because which we don't know as yet, if the pollution rises, they tend to sort of cease all construction activity. And that can cause delays by a few weeks, but I think that's about where we are.
Okay. Now, because of these expansion plans that you have, how do you reach a mix of decent ARPOB or average revenue per patient, right? And that number while doing the capacity expansion at the same time? Because I'm believing that if capacity expands meaningfully, then the ARPOB numbers would come off.
So look, I think, when you have significant capacity expansion, like we had 30% capacity expansion last year, we're having another 30% capacity expansion. And like you rightly alluded to, the fact that when you put up new capacities, you're obviously going to operate at lower ARPOBs to begin with as you sort of move up. But it's not as if you're going to be having such significant capacity additions going on year. Eventually, when your base becomes bigger, it becomes incremental in nature. So you have less of a sort of. But having said that, I think ARPOB is not something that we can one needs to worry about. It is eventually a derived number. I think what we need to look at our business is there's a huge need both for domestic patients as well as international patients. There is a need of quality capacity coming up in India. We have an opportunity of investing capital, and so do others, to take care of this, to tap this opportunity at a significant 20+% return on capital. And if we are generating capital and we have the banks open to us, we should be able to raise that money and be able to deploy that capital, right? For those kind of ROCEs. It should not worry us, or it should not concern us whether we are doing acquisitions or we are setting up capacities, even in lower RPOB regions, right? And you could do it in tier 2, tier 3 cities where RPOBs could be significantly lower. But what we need to be focused on is the ROCE, whether we can deploy capital and whether that capital can give us attractive returns. I think the emanating RPOB should not be a determining factor.
Okay, what are the return on capital employed targets? You've invoked the term twice in the conversation already.
So look, I think there's the industry return on capital employed, there's the company return on capital employed. If you can ilk out a 20+ return on capital, owing to your efficiencies, there are different players, their efficiency standards and levels are different. Everybody doesn't operate at the same levels. So ROCE does not more ROCE, more this thing does not mean you're expensive or your prices are going to be increased to such or whatever else it is. Because medical inflation by the end of the day is not more than 3% apples for apples, right? And that is what has been historically the case as well. But, in spite of that, your ROCs can be 20%+, whereas there can be laggards in industry which are doing very poor ROCs in single digits or even negative for that matter.
My question is simply this: is northwards of 20% mark on ROCE possible, Abhay?
And absolutely. This is something we've been doing, I think, quite consistently and constantly over the last 5 to 6 years. And, given the fact that we're doing now brownfields, that should provide us higher ROCs, in fact, rather than lower. So I think,
Okay. And now the key question that I really wanted to ask you, your international patient revenue is up 25%. It contributes to about 9% of your overall revenue. Minister Goel has said that visa on arrival for medical tourism patients out of Europe, UK, etc. might become a reality. How do you see this for your business?
So I believe there is a lot of excitement regarding HEAL in India. India, it is one of the comparative advantages that we have, the country has, vis-a-vis any other country in the world. Just the sort of skill sets that our doctors have based on the sheer volumes that they handle, the low price that we're able to sort of roll out our clinical programs at. You will note that people from the poorest parts of the world, including Sudan and some of the really poor countries, come to India for their medical requirements. That really puts us in a very attractive position as far as medical tourism is concerned compared to any other player in the world. I think this is an extremely welcome step. Clearly, to have visa on arrival for medical visas for people coming from the places like the US and Europe. Although I believe this is a start. People typically don't come from developed countries to India. People come from developing countries to India simply because those are the people for whom it is out-of-pocket expenditure, whereas people from the US and Europe, etc., the governments and sort of insurance is paying for it. It's another matter. Those governments are going sort of broke because aging population and big pressure on the treasuries. In due course, they will come to India as well because waiting periods are this thing. But my belief is, and I'm taking a very, very positive sort of this thing.
Abhay, I hear you. Sorry, just one final question, Abhay, and out of time here. But based on all that you're telling me, is a multi-year, multi-decade growth possible for you? Everybody's talking about how this industry is poised for growth for 5, 10, 15 years. Is it possible that it could be longer than that at a steady CAGR of 15, 20, 25%?
No, absolutely, and more so, in fact. And let me give you a very, very simple reason for this, right? I think one of the big things working for our country is demographic dividend. This demographic dividend is leading to development, is leading to increase in GDP, and certainly increase in per capita income. There's no argument about that. Our average age is 29. We have people over the age of 60 is only merely 140 million in India. There is no doubt, that this as per capita income sort of increases, this population or this subset of population is also becoming more aware and more aspirational. But let's also have no doubt that this population is becoming older, right? It's average age of 29, 10 years later will be 10 years older. We'll need to go to hospitals a lot more. One big change which has happened, anybody we know, and I think anybody over the age of 30 in India was either sort of born in nursing homes or government hospitals, etc. But anybody who can afford it today only goes to private hospitals. And I dare say 10 years down the line, in spite of our best efforts of investing in this sector, and we've declared that, look, we will be essentially all our free cash flows, etc., in years to come and perhaps decades to come, we will be reinvesting to be able to set up these beds. I fear there won't be adequate beds even at that stage. So this kind of growth needs to kind of continue. Otherwise, this gap is just increasing. 10 years down the line, number of people over the age of 60 is going to more than double from here. Even in the addressable population or the affordable population, which itself is becoming bigger and more aware, will double. And they need to go to hospitals, and particularly private hospitals, because the consumer preferences change, right? It's going to be immense. And, I think that is the basic reason why I'm seeing, and I believe there will be a multi-decadal sort of growth opportunity. Not only growth opportunity, but I think it's also a challenge. It's also a development challenge which our sector is going to face, which our country is going to face. And each one of the players, I think, is incumbent upon them to meet this challenge. If not us, who?
Indeed. Okay, Abhay, wishing you all the best for that multi-decade growth. Thanks so much for taking the time out, and all the best for the second half of FY26 as well, by the way. Well.